Yes. Walk on, TSB. Ready, Daniel? Let's go.
All right, come on, guys. We're ready to party tonight. Let's go. We build, we break. Jesus, you're the same. In joy and pain, you always remain. 'Cause I've got the promise on repeat. Your love keeps chasing after me. Come on, you sing. There's faith, there's fear. Jesus, you are near. We rise, we fall. Victory is yours. I've got your promise on repeat. Jesus, I'm walking to your beat. Whatever comes my way, come on, sing it out. I know it'll be okay. Just as long as you're here with me. Right, come on, you guys ready? Got everything I need. Come on, here we go. Let's go. Whoa, keep on. Come on. Now I'm from the South, right? And we like to groove a little bit. You feel what I'm saying? Hey, we gonna hit this groove right here. Y'all see if y'all can keep up. Come on. Hey, Dan, tell him how good he's been to you. Hey, tell him one more time, Dan. All right, now I think I need to hear some keys. Go ahead, Viv. Oh, he's been that good? He's been that good to you, Viv? All right, come on. Now let me hear from my boy Chris. What you got, Chris? Come on, Chris! Oh, he's been good to Chris. Yeah. All right, let's sing it out right here. All we want to do is give him praise. All I want to do is give you praise. All I want to do is sing your name. All I want to do is bring you praise. All I want to do is sing your name. Come on. You've been so good to me. You've been so good to me. You've been so good. You've been so good to me. You've been so good. You've been so good. You've been so good. You've been so good. You've been so good to me. We lift you higher. We lift you higher. We lift you higher. You've been so good to me. We lift you higher. We lift you higher. We lift you higher. You've been so good to me.
Come on. He's been too good. Too good, too good, too good. I love the revelation when you realize that everything I have I don't deserve, but if God gave it, I'll take it. In fact, I'll take it all. If God's got something, how many people want to receive it? Come on, if God's got a promise, if God's got a purpose, if God's got a plan, come on, sometimes we want to come to God with one hand lifted. But what if we went with both hands lifted, saying, God, if there is anything left in my life you need to move out of the way for you to deposit what it is that you want to put into my life, God, you have full permission because I know how good you are. I know the good, I've tasted and I've seen the goodness of God. So God, if there is more of you, I want it. Less of me, more of you. Come on, why don't we just pray that right now? God, less of me, more of you. God, make some room in my life. I give you permission to shift things, to change things, to adjust things, to work things, God, to position me to be in the place where your plan is outworked, where your purpose is realized, where your promise is delivered. God, we're ready to receive everything that you have. Come on, when you sing that one more time, because he's good.
You've been so good to me.
Come on.
You've been so good to me. You've been so good. You've been so good to me. Been so good to me. Been so good to me. You've been so good. You've been so good to me. We lift you higher. We lift you higher. We lift you higher. You've been so good to me. We lift you higher. We lift you higher. We lift you higher. You've been so good to me.
Come on, give him a mighty praise. Hallelujah. Amen, 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 amen. Woo! It's hot in the warehouse. It's warm in the warehouse. You got a sweat going on. Man, it is it's hot in here. I think it's about to get a little hotter tonight. I think God has something in store for us that is hopefully going to be helpful, hopefully going to be exciting, hopefully for everybody watching at home right now that you are feeling on the edge of your seat. In fact, I hope you're up getting a sweat on in your living room because it is good to work out to worship. That's what I feel like. I feel like worship is a workout. Actually, most of the time, every Sunday, I end up sweating like crazy because I know that I'm worshiping right when I got the sweat dripping, when I've given God everything, when I've held nothing back. And that's what we're doing here tonight. We are giving God everything. And we're going to actually do something tonight. In fact, why don't you do this? Why don't you grab a seat right where you are? Grab a seat, grab a seat. Because it's fun, Sean John. It's fun to worship God. But then there comes a time where we're going to get serious, where we're going to start to discuss some things. We're going to talk about some things, and we've got some stuff to talk about tonight. How many people know you're here for a reason? And I've been thoroughly enjoying our warehouse worship sessions on a Tuesday evening. Loving it. You know, we started out writing a song, Pastor Carly. That was I don't know what we're thinking. I still don't know what we're thinking. God did something with it, though. It was very special. And then last week we talked about flowing in the Holy Spirit and what it is to move with the Holy Spirit. We thought we would keep pressing. And, you know, I was talking to my wife about this, and Kira and I, we're real pastors. We love our church. We miss you guys. We miss the church. We miss our people in this season, and we miss seeing people. And, you know, after pastoring for a very long time, we begin to assess the situation in our church. And what we've realized is there is a problem. There's a real problem in our church. And the problem is there's a lot of singles. That's a problem. And for Kira and I, that's a problem that shouldn't be happening on our watch, okay? So we thought we might start to have some conversations around what this problem is, actually more specifically where this problem lies. Like, where is the problem with singleness? Is it with the guys? Or is it with the girls? Because there is a problem somewhere, and we need to get into it. So tonight we're going to have a discussion based around the problem with Christian dating. That's what we're going to talk about, the problem. Because, you know, I mean, there's plenty of people dating out there in the world. There's plenty of ways to date. But I think what complicates things is when you put the word Christian in front of it. Would we agree? So I thought we could kind of get into a bit of a discussion. We've got a guys panel here. We've got a girls panel here, and we've got kind of evened out the crowd a little bit, so we just didn't cause a riot. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that, you know, we just kind of, you know, support whatever you feel. Doesn't have to be, fellas, you don't have to support the guys. If you feel like the girls say something good, you can just support them. Feel free to go. You go, sister. Okay, just feel free. Like, just, I don't know, is that how all girls talk? I don't know. But guys, you know, girls, if you feel like the guys say something valid, say that. All right, just help them out. Okay. And we're gonna see what happens. But I thought we could start off with maybe the girls. Maybe we should do ladies first. Would you agree, guys? So you're already doing way better than you think. But we should start with the ladies first. And I want to ask, do you resonate with this question that church guys are either too easily intimidated or way too desperate?
Ooh. Yes.
We have one yes. Sherry, tell us more. You were quick off the mark.
There are two options. They're either too desperate,
right,
or they're
too easily intimidated.
Oh, yeah. That's very true. It's either they don't say hi at all and they follow you on Instagram.
Okay.
Or they're in your face and they're telling all their friends that one's mine.
Wow.
So I went there. First question.
Hang on. Hang on. What do you mean? What do you mean they're telling their friends that they're mine?
They claim dibs. They claim dibs. Sometimes when we don't even realize it.
Right. Hang on. Let me get this right, because I'm asking, are guys either too easily intimidated or too desperate?
Both.
But who's claiming dibs? The guys are claiming dibs or the girls are claiming dibs? What?
The guys are claiming dibs. Yeah.
The guys are claiming dibs on girls without ever talking to the girls? Is that what we're talking about here?
They let the community know.
Hey, I'm already confused. I feel sorry for all of y'all. Like right now, I'm with you. Help, you're confused as well. Okay. Maybe I'll throw to the guys because the girls are talking a different language. Help me out. Are guys calling dibs?
No, not at all.
So you want
Guys
Henry?
don't talk that quick. Like, women see a guy at church, they call dibs in a second. Guys, like we don't play our hand that open.
Oh.
Yeah.
You don't play your hand.
We don't play our hand.
All right. Okay.
That's an opinion.
That's amusing. Did you
That's
say?
an opinion. That's one opinion.
Hey, we've got a panel of guys here. Is that common? Like, I mean, I think these are speaking for mankind.
I echo that right there.
You echo. All right. So here we've got a situation where you agreed that guys are in church guys. We're talking church guys. Are too easily intimidated, or they're too desperate. Unpack that for me. What does that look like in the church world? Anybody on the girls? We're going to let the girls go. Elizabeth, she's ready.
I'm going to keep it hopefully short.
I honestly just think that it's more so sometimes on the intimidation factor. I think that when it comes to growing spiritually and having like fellowship with other females and all that sort of stuff, that's how we grow. And so sometimes I think that there can be an intimidation if, you know, if the female's more spiritually mature, if we were dropping scripture in the middle of a conversation and we're doing chapter, book, and verse, that can be intimidating. But I think that if anything, that should be a call for men to also rise to that occasion and be kingdom men as well. So even though it might be intimidating, I think that there's intimidation at work, there's intimidation in regular life. So why should that be different when it comes to dating? And men press right into it, so it shouldn't be different for a female. That's just my opinion.
So the one thing that I would say is, I think it's really interesting because like aggressive or bold to one person can be like overpowering or way pushy to somebody else. So it's like this really careful dance that has to be done, especially if the expectation is on you to engage, right? So in some capacity. So it's like that nuance. So someone who's really shy may have just been too aggressive with the last person, and she told all her friends like, oh, don't go with that guy. He's like way too pushy, you know? So it's like your experience dictates your next move in some ways.
That's true. Agreed.
I'll agree with that.
Thank you, Miguel.
Okay, so hang on. We're talking about a dance here. A dance. There's like a dance. You gotta finesse it. Okay.
It is a dance, because being desperate could be you are talking to every girl at church, walking in like, you look cute, I like your shoes, how you doing? Following everyone on Instagram, DMing everyone on Instagram. I'm not saying I know people that do that, but that
Right.
could be what being desperate is, and I have seen that.
Right.
And the opposite is like a simple hi, right?
Would be nice.
Would be nice, right?
Okay.
Nice to meet you. That's it.
Right.
You don't got to continue conversation. That's day one. Just say hi.
Right.
And then maybe next time get their name. And then let it build from there.
Got you. So, okay, so we've got this situation where guys are easily intimidated. So, you know, obviously they're trying too hard not to actually give off the wrong impression. And so they're not coming like on strong at all. They're looking like they're scared. They're looking like they're intimidated. Or they look way too desperate because they're sliding everybody's DMs. They're following, they're liking every photo from like 4 years ago, all that kind of stuff. And is that too real? Is that okay? So what if I flip it for a moment? And I thought about this. What if I flip it? Because I think, and maybe the guys, you could resonate with this or agree or disagree, that church girls are complicated to get to know because they're always too ready to talk about marriage even before the first date. Are you feeling that? Is that?
I think you just answered your own question.
All right. So that's why it's intimidating. Well, can you please add some value and talk about that? Because I'm married. I got an amazing wife, but we want to help you guys. So talk to the girls. Tell them what the problem is here.
I think that the intimidation comes from this, story that has been created at church that, women are on an agenda, and the agenda is marriage, house, babies. And like, we're just trying to take it an In-N-Out burger.
Do girls think that way? Like, because we're in the church. This is not just, we're not at the club. We're not like just, hey, what's happening, college after party. We're in the church, and you're trying to find your mission from God, and you're trying to find your partner to go on that mission with. So is that front of mind when considering a yes to a date from a guy who's just thinking In-N-Out burger after we've served with our lanyards on all day, because that's really what all singles should be doing. Okay, you take your lanyards off and then you're like, let's get meals. Are you thinking, is this marriage material?
I would say my younger self definitely was like, it's the fairy tale.
Right.
It's exactly what we've learned. And I would say as I've matured and gotten older, I feel like a lot of that comes down to, I actually just want to get to know you, because I do want to establish friendship.
Right.
I'm not trying to get in anybody's relationship. Like, that's why I feel like speed dating might help, because I just want to get to know you. Right. I'm not actually trying to shop for a husband. I'm just actually, I have so many married friends. I love them, but I don't have many single friends because all of them have graduated.
Wow, okay.
I think that's part of maybe a culture shift that needs to happen. Like, going to coffee with someone doesn't mean you're dating them.
Right.
right? And you
Okay.
shouldn't tell your friends, like, I went to coffee, like, tell the world who you went to coffee with. Because coffee is 30 minutes, and it's $5. Like, it doesn't mean much. I don't think.
So help me out here. Are we wanting to date, or are we wanting to be friends? Like, what's the general consensus? Because I feel like we're just going down the wrong path if it's just like, look, I'm not interested, I just want to have friends. Don't you all have enough just friends? Aren't we trying to find the person?
I think the expectation, to Sherry's point, around like those first few dates should be very low across on both sides. And I don't think they are. So inevitably, somebody has a higher expectation than the other person.
Right.
And that's what leads you down this path of like, it was coffee, it was great. And then someone on the other side of the table was like, it was coffee, it was great. Now we're getting married. You know, so I think the expectation needs to be aligned.
Right.
And I don't think that's how dating necessarily is all the time anymore.
And I'll throw the girls under the bus. I'm really sorry. But if a guy takes you to coffee, don't be like so giddy to tell all your friends.
It's not that serious.
So-and-so took me to coffee. Like, they're all going to think he's taken because he took you to coffee once. Or after church, he was like, want to help me put this in my car? Like, I'm serving. And then you're like, he asked me. He didn't ask anyone else. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Don't tell your girlfriends that you're not taken, he's not taken.
Right. Okay. So let's. That's nice of you all to get that out there. It's very, very cordial, great friends. Okay, but this is not a friendship panel. This is a singles panel. Okay, and
That's why we're single.
yeah, this is obviously why you've got great friendships. Okay, but Pastor Kira and I really want to help you get into. We want to help you get to marriage. Okay, we want to help you get to that place. So let's talk about this then. Let me throw this out there. You're not just looking for someone to help you take something to the vehicle. You're not just looking for someone to share a coffee with and have a conversation and talk about good books you've read. You're looking for someone to date to marriage, okay? Maybe we're not talking about marriage on the first date, but is this a potential person? Let's go there. Who makes the first move these days?
Yeah.
Well, hey, down here, throw the mic, yeah.
I definitely, I mean, for me, I feel like the guys should still make the first move. That's
All
personally
right.
like me, or maybe that's old-fashioned, but
Okay.
I would say that on the flip side, if a girl did want to make the first move, I wouldn't be intimidated by that. Like, it's modern times. Like, everyone can do that if they want to, and I think that's totally fine. Like, go
Right.
after what you want. So,
Okay.
If I could say, I think it depends on how you subscribe. I think some people are traditional daters, some people are not, and it's just like, well, if I want to initiate, that's fine. I think the biggest thing is, how does that look consistently? Is the female always the one, if she's the one that initiates the date, is she the one that always is initiating every single interaction, every single text? And I think that is more so the issue, that if you've seen that I always have to be the one to initiate. And I think same thing for guys. If the guys are always the ones that are initiating, then I don't think that signals to the other party that you're also interested too. So I'm more of a traditional dater, so I would prefer just to see a man be like, oh, okay, let's go to the restaurant down the street at a certain time, not just leave it open in the air. So just be direct, but I think that over time it should be both parties putting in that work. And
Could you unpack that a little bit more? Because it's not just these guys. There's like probably a bunch of guys right now. They're definitely not on the chat. Probably like not even chatting, because you're just like peering over the fence because you don't want anybody to know that you're watching, but you're learning right now. So help them. Like what does that mean? Like not just general, but set something specific.
So I think, like, if you are a traditional dater as a man, I think that a woman, especially in this day and age, like, females, we're working, we have our own jobs, we are, and a lot of times, like, leaders in our own fields, and so it's not, sometimes we do want to be able to be wined and dined as well. And so it would be nice that if you are going to be someone that's going to be a part of my life, that you are making it a little bit easy, can I say that?
Yeah,
you know?
I'm sure.
And so it doesn't feel as if you are work as well. So if when I'm meeting you, it's not that hard, in my opinion, to say, okay, well, I'm interested in you, no pressure, but let's go and get coffee, and let's just talk, and set a time, set a date. Even maybe before, like 30 minutes before, an hour before, say, hey, I'm on my way, or I'm looking forward to meet you, just to set some sort of atmosphere of, like, I'm interested. And I think if as a traditional dater, once that's established, I think the female can feel a little bit more comfortable to be like, okay, this guy is interested, and you don't have to seem like you have to guess whether or not he is. So, I mean, the females agree. I'm just
I mean, we've got some snaps going on back here. I like this.
I'll add to that. I'll say, I think I grew up in church, and I think growing up in church, I was always told, like, let him pursue. It drilled into my head by every youth pastor, my siblings, every person. So I'm a very confident person. So I struggle with, like, if I go say hi, am I being too forward? Sometimes I say hi to a guy and, like, they smile too much. And I'm like, oh, God, they took that the wrong way. You know? So, but you don't know, right? And so I think for us, it's like, where do you teeter as a girl? Like, or do you lose interest? Because I finished the chase quick because I just came up and I said hi, right? And I feel like guys are always saying, like, they like the chase. Make them chase. Chase, okay. But can I say hi without, right?
Like, how fast do you run?
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like there's a fine line too. I think we talked about that a little bit before. Like, I think it's great if somebody comes and says hi, but if you're like attack, I feel like if you're like attacking me and like coming on too strong, then that's like too much. And you're like, oh, I don't want to go after that girl. Like, she's a little coming in too hot. But if you're able to like, if you're able to just introduce yourself or say hi, and then I'm like, ooh, maybe she is interested. Maybe I do want to like take the initiative and ask her for coffee next time because she is kind of interested in me.
All right, so let's make this a little clearer. Like, how does a girl do that? Like, how does a girl show a guy that she's interested? But what's that line between, as you said, coming in too hot, you're attacking me, man? It's like, you know, but to, I have no idea if she even remembers my name. Like, what's the...
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's just as simple as, like, I think it's something that you kind of expect of guys too. Like, come up to you, say hi, introduce yourself, and just let them know that you're there. And I think girls can do the same thing. And that's, for me, that's enough. I don't know how you guys feel, but...
Great.
Yeah, I think it's the same on the other side of the coin. I don't think like the initial hello, at least for me personally, my experience is like a hurdle, right? The initial hello and even the first date. I think where it gets like kind of sticky is like how much from your end, because you guys then say it's like, all right, I want to be pursued, right? Like, I want to be pursued. I want people chasing me. It feels good. I love it, right? But and then as a guy, we're teetering between, all right, I've hit this girl up. Okay, 4 calls, 3 texts, no one's answered. That's dope. And it's like, at what point in time are you like, okay, is this pursuit? Are we playing this like cat and mouse game? Or is she like gone? She peaced out.
Right.
So that's like a nuance for me. Like, you get to that point, how do you play that game? Because then you're asking for pursuit. We're sitting here pursuing, but I don't see anybody for the next like 6 miles. So that's where it gets a little weird for me. So I think that's my 2 cents.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Is 4 calls, 2 texts, no answer? That's done, right?
Those were random numbers. Random numbers.
Can we help
Random
Miguel out?
numbers.
Like, that's definitely done, right?
But see, I don't think that there's this big formula, and I think that's where the overthinking kind of comes into play, where I think it should be a natural development of friendship. And I think that, like I had said before, if the female also needs to like be available as well. So it shouldn't be something where on the female side you're like, okay, well, I'm going to wait till he texts me 5 times and then I'll respond. Or I'll wait an hour and a half because last time he texted me after like 10 minutes, so I want to seem like I'm busy. So I think that if both parties could say, okay, like, I'm interested, then it's putting in the effort and going ahead of, okay, well, he's texted me, and so if I'm naturally going to respond, and just go ahead and do that. And I think if both parties did that, then I feel like a lot of the gray area of trying to figure out, like, okay, well, I've contacted that person, and that person hasn't responded back, so should I send another text, could evaporate, and we could just, not be single, That's the answer.
I'll add to that. If you were saying you texted a girl twice and she didn't. I know. But I'm saying for the sake of the argument, you texted someone and they didn't reply. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're like after a date, part of a conversation, just like keeping momentum, right?
I think that's where we all need to grow to like communicate. If you don't want to talk to someone anymore, I'm sorry, ghosting is like you're 12 and that's 2012. Like, just say like, hey, it was really nice getting to know you. I think you're great, but I just don't see a romantic future.
Right. Okay. So I feel like there is so much going on that we've complicated the process.
Just
because we're reading not just the response, but the non-response.
Right.
And we're reading into the non-response, and then, and we're all trying to play it too cool and be like, I want to look busy. And so we've got so much mind games going on, and the person's forgotten by now. Like, they've just gone back to another swipe. Okay, so So let's talk about this then. If just imagine if we were to kind of go a little old school, and imagine if guys were to make the first move. Like, wouldn't that be outrageous? Like, if we're talking about, you know, girls being chased and guys pursuing girls, just like from a really romantic notion. I'm not doing sex bias here or anything like that, but just from, you know, just that beautiful kind of Song of Songs kind of idea that a guy has the guts to pursue a girl, to put his feelings out there, to say, you are worth me being embarrassed. You are worth the risk.
Amen.
And if they were to make the first move, what is that move? What's that move, guys? What's the move?
I think that one of the main issues is right now, I think from my experience, is that with everything that's been going on in the media, guys are scared to make the first move because we don't want to objectify women. We don't want to, you know, disrupt, you know, the feminist movement, and we're trying to be so, you know, politically correct and calculated that all this anxiety comes up before we even make the first move. So
you're saying that's a real thing in
Very
this day
much
and
so.
age of offending somebody by pursuing them?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm sorry, but like a high wouldn't be offensive, I think, to any female.
Beyond a high. I'm talking like personal time. Like if I were to walk you to your car after church, you might think, is this guy going to do something? I don't know. That's just the story that I'm creating, but I think in
So
reality...
we're talking about chivalry, like, you know, opening the door, and they was like, hey, I can open my own door, man.
Exactly.
I
had a
what is
girl
this?
tell me she
I make my
doesn't
own
touch
money.
him.
Come on, I can open my own door. Is that...
The response to that would be to read the signs. So if she is giving you signals that she doesn't want you to walk her to her car or whatnot, then don't. Be like, have a great day, and let her be. So just be respectful. Read the room.
Okay, so can I tell this? I'm just going to be straight up. Guys aren't very good with signs. You need to be as subtle as a sledgehammer.
If you're unsure about the signs, like phone a friend.
No, this is what guys will do. Like literally will see the 1% chance and be like, I'm in.
Absolutely.
I think it also goes back to the communication that we were talking about before, right? So if it's like, if you aren't clear and consistently clear, then it's part of the pursuit, right? So it's like, she doesn't want me yet, but after I walk her to her car, we're in, you know? So it's like, it's a dynamic that plays that all stems from how it starts and how it begins. And if it doesn't start with communication, it's just going to spiral out of control. That's how I...
How would you say that communication should happen between, I would say, all of us serve together, we all are connected together, our conversations are very service-based, but when it does get to the point where it might transition, what does that key look like for both? Because honestly, there are times where I'm like you said, they're smiling a little too hard. I was just saying hello, but then there are other times where it's a question, like how are you? What are you doing these days? For us, I think the conversation starts to linger is usually when we're trying to figure out, are they viable? But we would only know with conversation. What does it look like to you to even engage in that conversation?
So I think from my stance, it's the action that the guy takes, in my perspective. So and I'm very talkative. I can have a conversation with everyone in this room on any given Sunday.
Yep.
But that's not to mean that I want to date everybody in this room. So I think for me, it's the action of saying, hey, let's go grab lunch. And that I think is
that's the move.
I think that's on us.
That's the move, right?
Yeah, I think
because
it
before
is.
I think we were leaning into high. Whoa. But you just said 30 highs.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a move.
That's right.
So help the girls out. What's the move?
I think the move is an action to go do something that's alone. And it's on us to communicate that clearly if that's not the case, right? So if it's like, hey, coffee, I really want to talk to you about my business idea, I think we're in the clear, right? If it's like, hey, let's grab lunch, just the two of us, and maybe hang out and go for a walk after, I think we can all pick up the signs that that's probably a date. Right?
Okay, so I like that, but are guys that clear? Or are they like, hey, let's catch up sometime? And you're like, about?
I think Christian Christian dating gets complicated when we start to do group things for safety. Because then the lines get really blurred. If I'm hanging out with my friends, but there are viable subjects in here. Because it's not necessarily one-on-one all the time. Sometimes it is like, hey, I'd love to hang out with you with other people.
I don't think you should have that safety concern, like with the example we're giving, right, on someone with team. I would hope not, right? But in another setting, yeah. But I think there's places to go and things to do that are a little bit more safe for a first date.
I do want to comment on that. Is when women invite us out with their friends, like, guys don't understand if we're there to see you or your friends. And I'm like,
Wow.
trying to figure this out. Like, are you trying to introduce me to your friend? Did you put me in the friend zone between our last conversation and now I'm being introduced to your friend as a potential suitor? Like, we have a very short attention span. So the fact that you're now inviting us to be with other women and it's just me, like, I get confused quick.
Hit him back.
Good point.
Gianna, come on.
So I feel like on both sides, intentions need to be clear. So for you, would it be helpful to be like, I want to go to lunch and get to know you because I'm interested in dating you? Do you need it spelled out? Or do you need it to be like, as a friend at the end of that question? I feel like...
Well, same question. Same question back to the other side.
So we all need to find
All need to use our words.
You know what we need to do? We need to go back to elementary school and write a note. Tick a box. Yes, no, and the maybe box. The maybe box is just the safe way of saying no. I mean, because I can see the tension here. I'm starting to figure out, I'm starting to see that there is a bit of confusion going on, especially in the church, because we've got to keep it Christian. And truthfully, I think maybe some of the hesitation, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm a little old school, but I feel like some of the tension could be, if this goes down in flames, this move, this invite, we still have to see each other. Because we're still serving next Sunday. And, okay, so how do we navigate that? How do you... You go to the hub. You date someone from another campus. All right, so you only have to see them once a month, potentially, at the hub. Elizabeth, talk about that, because I want to know, how do you date in a church guy? And, okay, let's maybe even move beyond the awkward introduction. Just say you start to go on a couple dates. How do you date in the church world and it'd still be cool if you decide after a couple of dates, because you're getting to know each other, it's not going to happen?
Well, I think that, and it might sound like super churchy, but it's like, if you are treating the person that you're going on a date with as like your brother or sister in Christ, like, you're going to also treat that with respect in a way that if you are not feeling that person anymore, communicate that instead of ghosting, and then you're going to still see them on Sunday and serve. So don't make it awkward. Of course, I think that if communication is there and it doesn't end well, yeah, it's going to hurt. But I think that if we're adults, we have to be willing to get through some of that. And I think that sometimes as a culture, we can get to a place where it's like, oh, once something ends, it has to just completely explode. And it's like, no, I think we need to move as a society to be able to be like, that relationship didn't work out, and it might hurt to see you maybe with someone else, either in the church or outside of the church, or a different church, But, but I think that if we are constantly moving forward with this mentality of putting stamps on people, and once we went on 2 dates, that means you can never date anyone ever again that I know of, that's not really fair, because that's not life. And we're also we know that once we put Christian as a filter, we've already dwindled the results down to like 5.5, right? I don't know where the half is coming from, but...
There's plenty of short guys out there.
I didn't say that. But we've already dwindled the results really thin. So if we're being realistic and knowing that it's like we're in a small church community, we have to be willing. And I think to Sherry's point is that if you're not if you're not letting everyone know, like, oh, I texted hi to Johnny on Sunday, so that means he's mine, it allows it to be an environment where we can all just have genuine friendships, possible relationships, but then also be able to move forward in a church environment when things don't work out, because that's life.
So what I'm picking up too is there's this, like, Julian, there's this mob mentality that's happening, right? Where guys know that girls are all talking. and it's a small environment. So they're worried now that the moment that you decided, we went a couple of dates, but it just wasn't the right vibe. Now she's telling all the girls everything. Is that happening, girls? Stop.
But it's happening on the guy's side too.
Is it happening on the guy's side too?
There's definitely conversation on the guy's side.
Okay.
Who's available, who's here,
Who's
there.
off the market?
Yeah.
Is that happening? Like, let's go around. Are we doing that?
Not me personally, but
No, hold on. Let's get that on mic here.
Yeah. I don't. For me, no. I mean, if anything, if I'm talking to a girl at church, from my experience, guys will walk by and give you the eyes, like the bro eyes, like bro, like those are the bro. Have you ever got the bro eyes?
Teach him the bro eyes. Teach him the bro eyes.
Bro eyes are like,
We're going to look out for this now.
and then that's enough. That's all you really need. Raise your hand if you got the bro eyes.
The
before.
non-verbal communication.
The non-verbal bro eyes.
Right. Okay. Yep. What do they mean?
They mean like I've dated her, or we've talked, or she might be a little out there, or
Oh, so she's like 50% crazy. Like, stay away, bro. I got your back. Stay away.
not the side
That's
eye.
how you communicate all those sentences with.
That's
Pretty much.
we don't really talk about it. It's just an understanding, like, and that's enough.
There you go. Okay.
But I'm still single, so
right.
you know.
So the eyes aren't really working. All right, let's do this. Let's jump into the world of online dating. Can we talk about that for a minute? Can we go down that path? Are you all?
It's the worst.
You want to? It's the worst. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So let's talk about this. The world of online dating. How Christian does your profile have to be?
It's got to be Christian.
It's got to be Christian.
Yeah,
Talk
because
about it.
If I don't have any idea that church is tagged, you don't have to say it, tagged, or like an answer doesn't involve, because you could talk, when you have the deal breaker on, you could talk to anyone and they're not actually Christian, right? How do you know? How do you know if someone's plugged in?
Right. That's a good question.
Or even really believes other than what they grew up in?
Okay.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, how many people in the Bay Area, especially, were just this whole new movement of everyone's really spiritual now, and like everyone's afraid to post that they love Jesus. Like, I'm gonna need you to call that out, like day one. Like, I need you to draw a line in the sand. And I'm not saying I have to know exactly where you are in your walk, but I just need to know, like, you're not just like holding a crystal in your hand. And like, I'm sorry, but if I'm in the ICU and things aren't looking good, I need a woman next to me praying.
Hey.
And if she's about to deliver my baby 6 weeks early, I need you praying. I don't want you holding a crystal. You know, I'm sorry, but
Doing a
I
rain
just,
dance.
I need to know she's going to hold it down if I can at that moment. Like, she needs to call on God. Like,
Your
and
dating
Jesus,
app,
through
though,
Jesus, by the way. Like,
Right.
Dating app is supposed to be a reflection of who you are. So if you're going to church once every 3 months and I don't ever see you at church, and you're not going to put that on your profile, that's not who you are.
Right.
But if you love God and you love serving your community, and your midweek people are your homies, like they come over for dinner on Friday after midweek, and that's your life, like, show that. Why would you hide the best part about your life? Like, that's so weird to me.
I love that. Is it, with online dating, is it okay to talk to numerous people at once?
I think that's where that fine line of getting to know people and then crossing over into dating somebody, that's where that fine line holds that tension. Because I think that whole idea of serial dating, it's a whole nother world. But I do think that, the online platform in general, we do it in social media all the time. We're constantly talking to people in an online platform. But how do we transition it into a dating situation is where it gets a little sticky.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because it's like, I feel like it almost makes it okay on the dating apps to say that you're talking to multiple people. That's fine, but yeah, it's when does it become a date? After you, is it because you've exchanged 5 messages back and forth? Did you actually have to go on 3 physical dates in person or on Zoom nowadays? I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah.
So 2 things that are speaking to me, and I think they just get magnified once you go to that online platform, is maybe we're not secure enough on our vulnerabilities and skilled enough as conversationalists to really be successful as dating. Maybe that's why we're single.
I think there's a number of reasons why you guys are single, but, I'm just going to stick with the questions that I'm asking, because I'm the question asker here. Yes, Elizabeth?
I'll say, though, that I do think that dating apps are just, especially in this day and age, are just another way that people are dating. For each its own, but I think that you should also try and treat it like you would in real life. So serial dating is real, but I think that because you have so much access, you're not going to, in a normal situation, meet 20 good-looking guys in one day, right? So at least not in my world. I don't know everyone's story, but but you're not going to meet, have access to that many people at one time. So I think it can give an illusion like you should feed into that much. But I think it's even like setting some boundaries for yourself. Like, I want to, if I've matched with someone, let me try and get to know that person. And if it doesn't work out, then okay, then let me open that up.
Okay, so you're saying as soon as a match, like, everything else is off, I'm just going to see if that, like, where does this line stop? Are you good with like 10 matches and you starting this conversation and starting that conversation?
Good question. Yeah, you got me. But yeah, so I guess,
Because, like, I mean, let's take it out of the digital world.
yes.
Okay, and you're at a Christian housewarming party. And you got some work friends there and different people there, and then you start talking to this person, but you go grab your drink, you talk to that person, and then you go talk to this, and you've got 5 conversations happening in the same room on the same night. We all know that would totally be not okay. But online, where is it? How many when does it become an exclusive conversation? At what point? Like, at what point is I'm not looking at 5 options here? Was the line on online dating? Like, help people out. This is the questions I get all the time.
And if I could just quickly, I want to clarify just to say that I don't mean just like one match as in like you had 5, but you'll just pick one. But it's like after you've got through the small talk phase that you should be, I think, intentional in figuring out, okay, in that conversation, is this someone that I actually want to meet up with in person? Or is this someone that's just biding my time because we're in quarantine?
Let me hone it in a little bit, because Sherry, you said being Christian in the Bay Area really dials the option pool down pretty low. Yep. So could it be that you are all matched with the same guy? And would you feel like how would you feel if that guy is starting the conversations with all 5 of you at the same time?
That wouldn't bother me.
That doesn't bother you?
No, because
Okay.
it's just chatting. Hi.
Best girl wins.
How's your day? I mean, it's just like church. Like, if Sean John were to walk up to 5 different girls, his first interaction with everyone is just getting to know someone. Like, it doesn't mean a lot, right? So that's really what the first few conversations are with anyone on the app. Hi, what'd you do this weekend? In quarantine, not much. But what are you reading?
Right.
Are you watching church online? Have you gone out running? Like, it's so simple.
Okay.
I wouldn't be embarrassed if you read all my first opening conversations. I also wouldn't be embarrassed if you listened to me talk to people at a housewarming party. I think it's when it gets past, like, I think for everyone it's a difference. Like,
So you're having several conversations, but the app knows, like, you know, because they're on the app, with dating, with intention. These are conversations with intention. Right.
Well, the algorithm determines the match, but it doesn't actually determine the relationship.
Right.
So I feel like there's 2 steps there. Like, the match is just, oh, on paper we're compatible, but it's not actually. I might actually really not like you as a person. So then it's that step of like getting to know people. But I do think that there's a fine line, because it's true. It goes back to the communication thing of like, have we determined that this is something that we're going to make exclusive?
Yeah, and how many conversations can you keep genuinely? I think is where it comes down to, and that's different for everybody, I think. So if you can do that with 3 conversations and do it well and actually be intentional about what you say and how you're trying to learn about somebody, then great, awesome. If you're like a 1 conversation person, it's like I got to be laser focused on 1 conversation, then maybe 1's your number. I think that's different for everybody.
Okay.
But Christian dating in the Bay, like, we don't got like 50 people in our queue. Like, it's not that many. So I can hold a conversation with 1 or 2.
With 1 or 2. Okay. Does this happen? Okay. You're chatting with some guy. Let's just say random name Miguel. Okay. And online, and you're having a few conversations. It's starting to go somewhere. You're even like, hey, we should catch up sometime. You're talking to your girlfriend Gianna. Gianna starts saying, hey, I've been talking to this guy online. His name's Miguel. Does that happen in the Christian world? Is this happening? Or is this not?
Our
not a thing.
types, well, our taste is very different, so I don't know if that would ever happen. But if that did happen, it might be a little awkward.
Might
But
be
if
a
we're
little-
just chatting, I don't know how awkward it
If you're just chatting it,
personally
okay.
speaking.
But how different is that in our physical worlds? Because that happens too. Like,
But I think the first few exchanges on a dating app, like talking about, like, even up to can I get your number, is the same as walking up to someone at church and be like, hey, what's up? Like, what are you serving on? What are you doing? Like, just getting to know. It's so simple. It's not.
So you're saying that online dating now is just the norm. It's just you got to be on there if you're looking for someone to date.
You don't have to be. I think it's just another option. I felt like a couple years ago, you would not want to tell anyone that you met that person online.
Right.
But now I think people are more freely talking about, like, oh, I met them on Hinge, or was it Bumble? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You're asking me. I don't know.
I don't know why I was asking you directly. I was asking everyone.
Yeah, I got nothing. Okay, so let me think about this. Let me talk about this then. I mean, it's definitely still, even though it's more familiar, I guess it's more prevalent now and more acceptable, it still seems fraught with uncertainty and awkwardness. It seems like shopping a little bit, swiping, matching, it's like, the same process to pick some clothes is got the same, like picking a potential person. Should there be space within the church world that provide platforms and avenues for singles to do life together? Should there be specific things?
Yes.
All right,
yes.
talk to us about that.
Yes and yes. So I've actually thought about this a lot. So thank you for bringing this up. And if you want to talk later, I have an app idea.
We can
go over it.
Yeah, we've thought about it. Okay.
Yeah. So, but the issue with, to your point, the digital apps is it becomes mindless and everybody's swiping. I've been on dating apps before, and you're just swiping. There's no authentic connection, and it's all algorithmic. Thank you to your point as well. So I agree that it's all matching. But what that does is it creates a sort of like a handicap for us, because it does all the matching. And everyone keeps saying the same word tonight, which is intention.
Right.
And half the time when you meet with someone in person, intention goes out the window, because they're so they become numb to the social interaction that they don't know how to engage with one another. So to your point, if there was some sort of platform that allowed people to say, hey, I'm intentionally open to dating, and I'm acknowledging that I'm part of this community and I know what I'm looking for, and here's the attributes, and it does some of that quantitative reasoning, and it puts people together and it matches them, I think that would support us with getting past the systemic issues from social media that has hindered us from actually authentically connecting, as well as being transparent with our intention. So that whole vulnerability becomes magnified to the power of 10 through social media. Wow. So if we had some sort of platform that acted as that little push of courage to just say, hey, we're all in this space together and we're acknowledging that we want to date, and then it does some of the icebreakers on the app, that would be great. Not that I've thought of this.
I'm excited for this app to come out.
So you're saying we turn Vive Church AI into matching people on serving roles together and put them on teams. Okay, so I'm talking. Okay, and I love that. I love the idea of technology. I'm even thinking maybe a little bit more old school events.
Yes, absolutely. Calendars, shared social calendars is how you'll do it.
So social events where everybody here is single.
Yes.
Because I think it's not something we're trying to, I mean, maybe you are, but I think a lot of us are trying to eventually move toward a relationship / marriage and the whole thing. It's not necessarily a permanent thing, this singleness, but we put intention in our families, in royal kids, in youth. We put intention in relationships, in financial building. We put intention behind a lot of things. And sometimes as a single, it's hard to, outside of serving, that's the only activity that is designated for my season of life. So it's it's not so much that I feel left out, sometimes I do, but my singleness is not a handicap. It's just more of a part, it's a transition. I'm not trying to stay here, but I don't actually know the steps to move beyond it. Okay. It would be helpful.
Yep.
It's a lack of intimacy with ourselves. Ultimately, we're such servants that we're pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. And when someone says, hey, but what about you? You get anxiety. You're like, oh, no. Like, I'm here to serve. I'm not here to.
Yeah.
So, like, then you don't even know how to connect with yourself. This is just me talking to myself right now, but you don't know how to connect to yourself. And then by the time someone is saying, hey, what are you interested in? And you're like, actually, I don't even know. I know that I've liked all this stuff on Facebook and Instagram, and this is what the social media is telling me that I like. But then when you really get to know someone, you're like, have you even spent time alone with yourself? And then, so then that brings us back to the intention. And it's like, for guys trying to read a woman who may not even be in relationship with herself, how can I be in relationship with her? Not to take away from the conversation.
Totally.
To answer your question directly,
We just went to
though,
therapy, but that was great.
To answer your question, I just need to clarify, was would we all enjoy to have events where we could go?
I love the online deals,
Yeah.
the platforms,
Yeah.
the apps, but like an actual time where you see
Yes.
each other in the same space.
Yeah. One, I don't even take dating on the apps that seriously, but I think if I were to go to an event, I would take it a little bit more seriously.
Right.
And I think going to a church like VIVE, like, praise God, we're growing, but I don't know who's single at my church.
Right.
I don't even know who goes to another campus. I don't even know who lives 15 miles away. Like, our campuses
Right.
aren't that far.
Yeah.
That's huge. We
Yeah.
live in a Bay Area where the Christian community is this, right? It's tiny. So if I don't even know who's single at my own church at an
Right.
event, then how do I know? Even
would
how
you
can I
know?
write church off? Like, oh, there's no one at church.
Right.
I actually don't even know if that person's single or not.
That's great. Elizabeth?
Well, I do have a question for the men folk. So if there were the said type of event, would the men come?
Yes.
Yeah. Or would it be like 90 women and 4 guys?
Yes, they would. They would all show up.
Men would be there, and that's, remember, to your point, like you said earlier, that, you know, to have a time, a place, location, that's where men mess up. Like, we want to be there, but we just don't know how to plan. Like, we're not like the best planners. Like, I don't care what your job is, your day job, the moment you're like setting up time with a woman, like, you become like, you know. So, yeah,
Because it feels like it kind of could feel weird a little bit in the realm of when we're thinking ministries, we're thinking as the church traditional ministries, you know, we want marriages to last, so we do marriage ministry. You know, we want finances to business people to really be able to advance in their kingdom ministry. So there is a lot of things for that. But it feels like what has happened in the world with dating apps is people helping singles get together. Why doesn't the church help by creating some events that don't need to be weird, like a Christian bachelorette or something like that, but just some hangouts so there can be some an auction. You want an auction? Amazing. Okay. So we're talking like, what kind of events are we talking here? What is that? How does it not become a speed dating event? How does it become a social event? What does that look like? Give me some thoughts, guys. Any ideas?
So I've actually thought about this part as well. So,
Okay.
So it would just be natural events. It would, honestly, if you're sharing calendars, it's for someone to grab time from your calendar. And
So you're talking still one-on-one?
it would be either one-on-one or groups, to where literally you would create calendars for everyone. And then,
So you just want to make your calendar public?
well, not your whole calendar, your social calendar. So being that we're all busy professionals, we have finite social time. And by the time we have social time that's available, like, all the stars have to align. And then you're like, oh, I got free time. I got some money in the bank. I'm ready to hang out. But then none of your friends are around because you've been working all day, and you like been put on the do not call list because you've been so like empowered in all
So
the
Henry,
areas.
you want to section them into your free time?
Correct.
Right. So how are you going to have time to be married?
Well, and that's the thing, like, just be real. Like, it's like showing people, like, hey, I'm available at these times. I'm open to you grabbing some time.
But that's not going to be, I think, real. Like, I'm a type A person too, so I love calendars. It's color coordinated, all that good stuff. But I think sometimes too, in a relationship, if you're practicing for that, please don't fit me in a 5 to 7 time frame. You know, I think in a relationship there would be a push and pull where, like, you might have to sacrifice some other things to make a relationship work. If, like, a relationship is actually what you're going for, but you're only willing to do that within a certain time frame, then you may not actually be willing to make that sacrifice that you'll need to make in a relationship down the road, when she might be like, well, I want you to come with my friends to brunch between 12 to 2, and you might have sectioned that off to like work out or something.
But that brings me back to the point of how are you in relationship with yourself? Because then how are you in relationship with time? So like for me, I'm sorry, but if I have a schedule, I'm going to stick to it. But if I have available time, that means that you're worth that available time. I'm going to be very, very like rigid about my time in order to create time for you, because you're worth it.
And I like that. I like the idea of, hey, I got some free time. Let's hang. Cool. I'm talking less about sharing your calendar and talking more about how do we get 100 single people who love Jesus are in the church in a room.
A rooftop?
Like a rooftop.
With patio lights.
Afternoon drinks.
And high stools, and just an opportunity to just freely talk. And there has to be food.
I was going to say, too, I mean, a couple of us actually from different campuses in January, we're actually talking about having a game day and, like, inviting people from different campuses. And I think a couple people in this room were on it. Like, that's a fun way to engage with people, and you kind of get to see, like, for me, I'm competitive. I want to see who's competitive. I want to see who's going to match that. I want to see who's going to match my fireness. Like, I want to see who's going to match me in, like, a fun where we're all together. We can kind of just sit back and enjoy each other's company.
There you go.
Where there's no pressure. Like, if we had, like, a big VIVE field day, we did, like, dodgeball and tetherball or just stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, a big game day, but it's just fun. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, and I think you're also unified. Like, if you were to split into teams, you're already unified by the objective of winning as a team, right? So it helps to build some relationship right there out of the
And you
gate.
might find some stuff that would never be on a profile.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you're kind of
How
cool.
people deal under pressure, or how people deal with loss, and how people win.
Hey, deal with loss.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I love all of what you guys are saying. Like, I love the idea of like the competitive side and doing all the competitions and stuff. I think it's great to do those big events, but I also like the idea of having even maybe a little structure to them where you're pairing off with people. Like, it doesn't have to be an algorithm that matches you, but let me just see Elizabeth, like, let's pair up and do this competition together. Let's see how we interact. That would be cool.
I see.
Or like midweeks against each other, like all the singles in your midweek against all the midweeks in your city.
Okay.
That would be so fun.
Okay, let's talk about this before we get into planning mode, because I feel like you guys are ready to put some events on the calendar.
Let's go.
And I don't do that at our church, okay? I got people that do that, all right? So you can talk to them. But let me ask this question. If you were to say what the biggest hurdle is to dating in church, what is the biggest hurdle?
Time.
Time. You don't have time, is that what you're saying?
I think it's important to schedule your life around some things, but it's easy as a single person to not provide time for myself.
I'm going to help everybody right now. Lean in. If you don't have time to date, you don't have time for a relationship, you don't have time for marriage, you don't have time for kids, so you better figure out the time thing first, okay? Can we just take time off the table, okay? I'm just going to take time right back. All right, I feel like, I said I wouldn't preach tonight, but I feel like I really got to preach that point. All right, so if your biggest hurdle is time, fix the time. Available is very, very key to being available. Let's go with another big hurdle.
I feel like in Christian dating, probably pressure, maybe one.
Okay.
Like even like around like the church community too. Like I think we talked about it earlier too. Like if you're talking to someone and you go on that one date, now everyone thinks you're getting married, like, or like you're moving on to that next step. So there's a lot of pressure that comes with it. So you want to maybe be selective and about who you're going after and things like that.
Okay.
And then I'm not even going to bring in like the family pressure, like grandma breathing down your throat if you mention that you're going on a date. I'm sure everyone gets that, but yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, maybe I can dial this in a little bit because we're all being a little, skirting around the question, and maybe I will throw it to the guys. What is the biggest turn off about church girls?
Social cues, like how do we still bring the same sort of passion to a date once we have identified we're dating or something? How do we still compete with guys who aren't saved? Like,
okay,
how does that happen? Because like for social cues, I was dating a girl and she was expecting me to be like all over her when she wore a particular outfit, but it's like I'm still being integrity with my beliefs. So like, at what point do you? Like for Christians, like how do you want a guy to come at you when you're feeling like you done turned on Beyonce after you started to get ready, you know? So, like, and that's the thing, because we don't want to get put in the friend zone. We don't, and that's the biggest fear is like we get put in. Church guys get put in the friend zone so many times.
We do too.
It's not a bad thing. Trust me, I've been there.
Did it work out?
Made out. It came right out strong. Came out stronger than I went in.
Okay.
Okay, so girls, let me ask a question to you. Biggest turn off about church guys?
I have one.
Yeah, don't say time.
Inconsistency.
Oh.
I think like if I see you at church like one Sunday and then I don't see you for like 5 Sundays, I'm like, he's so cute.
Oh.
But... Or like, you know, like are you
Sorry.
plugged, like I hate to be, I'll be the Christian girl. Are you plugged into a midweek? I sound like a Connect person. Like,
Right.
Are you plugged in? Where are you plugged in?
You
Yeah,
wanna
like who's
see
your
that.
midweek leader? Do you know their name?
Right.
Prove it to me. Right.
Right.
And I think that's where my heart sits. Like, are you consistent at church? Are you consistent with your friends at church? Are you consistent with your midweek? I just want to see your face.
So the
for you to be familiar.
inconsistency is the biggest turn off.
Yes, yes.
And I think sometimes, Amani, wait. I think along with that, it's like, and it's going to look different for every person, but to find someone that's also like equally yoked with you, and I know that's such a like a church-ease phrase, but it's true. I think that if you are, you want someone that is also going to like make you, encourage you in the word, encourage you to be a better like person in Christ and that sort of thing. And so just because everyone goes to church does not necessarily mean their walks are the same. And so sometimes you meet someone that, yes, on the outside they could serve and all that, but it's like, you know, what kind of relationship do you have with Christ? And is it natural? Because corniness is something that is prevalent in the church community as well, on both sides. And so it's like, yes, that's great that you're a Christian, you love the Lord, but every single sentence doesn't also have to be like sided with a verse. Like we can talk about other things outside of just,
Right.
you know, Paul and the book of Esther, you know?
There's one we talk about.
How you present yourself at church. So what you're wearing. If you're putting in an effort on a Sunday, I can tell. The girls can tell.
How are we doing?
If you're putting in a little swag when you walk in the room.
And if they need help,
And if you
we say
need
this
help, just talk to your church.
Talk to a married person
Yeah,
at church.
that-
Right.
Hey, can you help me out? I need some swag.
Yeah. Talk
That's
to the
true.
people around you. Get some advice. But
Trusted
I think
advisors.
something that is the opposite of a turn off is
Right.
someone that cares about like how they're presenting themselves on a Sunday.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sean John, this has been informative for you.
Taking notes.
You've just been soaking it all in. Talk to me real quick about and I know, you know, we've definitely over the past relationship series we've talked away from the list. You know, we've definitely tried to talk girls off making the whole list that is impossible for any guy to meet. But if we were to make a list, let me say this: if we were to kind of pick top 3 qualities that you're looking for in a church girl, what are those top 3 qualities?
Outgoing, genuine, and caring.
Okay. Anybody want to do the other? Yeah, rebuttal. Anybody want to say what's the top 3 qualities in a church guy? Elizabeth's got a list ready.
I really don't. You know, my list has been evolving over the years. I think one, just non-legalistic, but you have like just a natural relationship with Christ is very attractive. 2, willingness to be in community with other people, and you might just have like 2 other friends, but like if you are a complete loner, that's not attractive. And then 3, the ability to, I think, try new things is also something that's like a wonderful trait, because I want to learn from that person, and I want you to be willing to learn from me too.
Okay, so what I'm hearing here is there is a lot of tension in the single world around dating. There is a lot of desires about wanting to be outgoing. I keep hearing that, the idea to try something, to just go on a coffee, to go on with intention, to not just put me in the category of all your other friends, but hey, if we're going to really kind of see if this goes somewhere, let's do something with intention. And it would be nice, right, if guys would be willing to put themselves out there in a risk. How do they do that? Do they just, is it pretty much, okay, I want to get to know you. Can we go and get some meal? Can we get a meal? Can we get some food? Can we go and do, is it that easy? And you're judging from those three little things you did there. Do they quickly, you're ticking off quickly, did they hit those three things before I say yes? Or is it, I don't know those things, so I'll figure that out as we go?
I think it depends. If like you're in church community with that person, like if they're on, Oakland campus, for example, perhaps I would
We have someone here from Oakland campus.
Hey, Julian. Like if you will naturally, I think that's the benefit of serving. Not that you're serving so that you can be seen, but
Right.
But if you are in that environment, like you're going to naturally kind of get a vibe of that person. So most likely before you approach me, I kind of have an idea of whether or not you're those things.
Okay, so before coming here tonight, because you're at what campus?
Oakland.
You're at Oakland campus. Julian's at Oakland campus. So you knew each other before coming here tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anybody on this panel you didn't know before coming here tonight?
I've met
Miguel.
And I've seen these two, Henry and Sean.
You've seen Henry and Sean. Okay, so let me flip this to Henry for a moment. Henry, okay, so you didn't know Elizabeth.
Not at all.
But after hearing her on the panel, Elizabeth is a really nice girl. She loves Jesus. She's got integrity. She's got these characteristics.
Yes.
Would you ask someone like Elizabeth on a date?
For sure.
Okay, ask her on a date.
What time? What place?
Let's see, what is today? Sunday, maybe like Thursday to Saturday I'm available. It's a quarantine. I don't know if you know that. It's a pandemic.
right.
So I'm
Okay, we'll
free.
do something online.
Let's do it.
We'll go on a date.
Do a Zoom date? Are we locking
Zoom.
that in?
I got my own Zoom.
Thursday
So do I,
night.
so, I mean, let's-
You got your own
I
Zoom?
got-
Send me the
Let's-
password.
8 p.m. Friday.
That works.
8 p.m. Friday. Good.
Don't you
'cause
have to check your calendar?
he's got it locked in his
I
mind.
got- Trust me, I
Wow,
know.
that's savage. Let them date. Let them date. Let them.
8 p.m. Friday.
Man, you gotta.
see that.
This Friday.
Boom, we're gonna date people. My work here is done. My work here is done.
I was kidding.
See, that's like, I like that, because here we've got some stuff out there in the open where you're like, okay, is it that easy? Is it that easy? Just what we just saw there, a Zoom conversation, a one-on-one. It should be. Couldn't it be? Couldn't that be? Wouldn't that be great? And I feel like if we as Christians first, if we literally took a lot of the games or what you were talking about, the dancing out of it, or the way that the world definitely approaches it, if we take a lot of the world mentality out of the church about he said, she said, I got to talk to my friends, I got to build my allies, I got to have someone to help me when I'm feeling hurt, all that kind of stuff. If we just really respected one another, if we honored one another, if we upheld our integrity, man, that's going to cut through so much of the unknown and the garbage that we'll actually maybe find real quick the person that God has for us. Can I say this, by the way? The person God has for us is the one that you choose, the one that you say, I'm going to give everything to that person for the rest of my life. That's the person God has for you, by the way. And it could just be Henry and Elizabeth. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Amen. This was helpful. Sean John, you were instrumental tonight. Thank you so much for driving all the way from San Francisco to be here. Invaluable. Couldn't have done it without
It's
you.
my pleasure. I drove Miguel here.
You drove Miguel. Well, I mean, there you go. Miguel, you know Gianna.
I do.
You guys are at the same campus together.
We are.
Have you guys ever been on a date?
We have not.
Why not?
We haven't honestly, truthfully talked that much.
Okay, so you're getting to
Probably
know
as much
each
as we
other.
should.
What? Imagine if you did a Zoom date the same time that Henry and Elizabeth did on a Zoom date, just to get to know each other.
Yeah, we could do that.
They sound so enthusiastic.
Can you give her a microphone real quick?
Sure.
I'm wingman. I'm out. I'm out. I'm wingman. I'm stepping back now.
I see that.
This is similar to the scenario of planning something where singles are all around. Like, I wouldn't have had an opportunity like this to be like, I'm single, you're single. Like, how was I supposed to know he wasn't talking to someone or whatnot? Or you
Right.
to me. It's not one-sided. But
Right.
this is just an example. If we're all around saying we're ready to meet some singles.
All right. Okay, so we've got 2 dates happening. And I think we're going to have to get the event planners onto a singles rooftop mixer with high chairs, high tables, food, patio lights, and a section where you go and talk to people intentionally. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining tonight. God bless you.
Good job.
Bye.